Hey folks, Rob Daniels here from the movie, TV, and video game soundtrack program Visions in Sound. I am on 12 to 2 every Saturday morning on 98.5 CKWR. It can also be found on my website, visionsinsound.ca. And this guy right here on my shoulder is Gimli. He's the show cat. He's been with me, 17 of the almost 25 years. So yeah. This video is going to be a little bit different from the others that I do. It's going to delve into some things that some personal things. It's not going to have the same humor that the others, though it does have a humor element to it. So I'll just simply say that. Today is the 20th of October. And for most of you, that date probably means nothing. But for me, it would have been the 64th birthday of my late wife, Dorothea. Yeah. She passed away on May 5th, 2020. So approximately 4 years ago. I miss her terribly. I miss her every day. When you lose someone you care about, you feel lost. The morning after I woke up, after Dorothea passed, I was lost. I didn't know what to do, and it was like this for several weeks. And I just basically, I didn't shut down. I just kind of went into automatic mode, and just went ahead and did my, and let life kind of happen around me while I was trying to get through my grief. You know, fortunately, I was allowed to grieve. Whereas, well, I won't say I wasn't allowed to grieve, but here I'll simply say this: I lost my father in 2001, in March of 2001, and after a couple of months of struggling to get through things, a former supervisor of mine told me to get over it. Get over it? How was I expected to get over it? I had lost my father. Now today, I would be getting help left, right, and center. I'd be being told to go to this counselor, to that counselor to get help. But back in 2001, I was just expected to man up and get over it. So, it still hurts to this day to think about my father. I miss him terribly too. So yeah, 2020, and we're at the height, actually, sorry, not the height, the beginning of COVID. And I could tell things were bad when I got told that when no one else was coming up to the hospital, I was called up to the hospital and told that these would be Dorothea's final days. And so they moved her from, well, we originally had her here at the apartment, but I found that it was just, I couldn't be around 24/7. I couldn't give her the care that she needed. So we had, unfortunately, to take her to Freeport. Yeah. So I don't know if any of you have ever slowly watched somebody pass away in front of you, but it's hard to watch. It's hard to be there every day when you think, is this going to be the day? Is this going to be the day? So I went every day. I would spend as much time as I could. I would hold her hand. I would sing to her. I would sing, what a friend we have in Jesus, because Dorothea knew where she was going. Whether it was conscious or not, she was preparing us for when she was leaving. I have notes of her essentially saying that she was worried about certain individuals and that sort of thing. So there are notes. I'm not going to get into them here. They're actually somewhat private, but there are times when I ask myself, could I have done more to help her? I don't think I could have. So yeah, that leads me to May 5th, 2020. Sitting by her bedside, and it's one breath, a long hold, and two breaths, and again a long pause. The nurse had Dorothea was having snoring problems and essentially breathing problems, and she was going to give her a shot of some type to kind of alleviate that, make her more comfortable. So she's left the room, and yet so the breathing starts to become labored and becomes the pauses become longer and longer. And then there's nothing. And because I was the only one there, because I was the only one that could be there. I was the only family member that could be there because of the COVID restrictions. It was on me to make phone calls to everyone to let them know that Dorothea had passed. Hardest thing I've ever had to do. And then leaving that night, I think she was talking to me when I was listening to the music on the way out, and a song from, I believe it was from Dragonheart, The Beginning, or Dragonheart 2, whatever, the second Dragonheart, and there was a song that played, and here it is.
Though I long for you to stay, spirits call and you obey. You'll fly far from me, though in truth you're still home. Sail across the sea, nature blooms where you roam. When trees grow, the leaves show, my heart goes with you.
So yeah, you feel lost. You feel completely useless to anyone, and yet somehow I powered through. Don't know how, but I did. I think this guy helped. He doesn't realize it, but just having him here beside me, purring, knowing that he was here, helped me a lot. And of course, having friends helped a lot as well. But don't let anyone put a limit on your grief, on your grieving time. You will take as long as it takes to get to a good place. That supervisor that told me to just get over it I'm sure it was easy for you to get over the death of whoever was dying around you, but it didn't work that way for me. So didn't mean to make this depressing, because Dorothea had so much life in her. And just an example. She used to do a radio show called Coffee, Tea, and Mama D. Here's just a clip of how she was.
Yes, that's right. CKWR right here in the lovely town of Kitchener, downtown, right on King Street, near Rockaway Gardens, for those of you that are interested. Let's have a little more odd news. We'll stay in the area of Sweden and Finland and in those areas. But apparently, braving Europe's heat wave, more than 150 Santas from around the world put on their heavy suits and beards and attended a conference in Denmark, in Copenhagen. It was the 61st Santa Claus Congress, and delegates came from all over the world, from Japan, the United States, and they took to boats and paddled around in the sea for a little while, which must have been an interesting sight for everybody. It was a 3-day event. Santa Ian Tom from Scotland said, normally Santa works alone, but it was like a big family, but a big family that you get on with, as he put it. And Santa Douglas from Washington, D.C., this was his 12th convention, and he likes the international feel. It's what keeps him going back. He says it's interesting how when meeting others, their culture starts to rub off on you and you on theirs. And a lot of the Santa suits, he was kind of sad that they were going from not the traditional gray Danish one to more the American style. And he thought that was a bit of a shame. And I think I kind of agree. Now I'm trying to think. Father Christmas, which is our tradition, which would be German. His costumes are a little different.
How about a little more music? Oh, I know, a little more Lullaby Baxter. This one is kind of fun. It's called Mr. Golden Happiness.
Yeah. So full of life, so happy, so musical. We would play music together, we would listen to music together, we would bonded over the Medicine Man soundtrack. So there's that. So yeah. Now, where does all of this fall in with soundtracks? Well, that leads me to maybe a year, a little bit later anyway. Still had Netflix at that point. And was looking at all of the animated series and nothing seemed to appeal. So I basically said, okay, let's try a random one. And I chose a series called Final Space. Yeah. And I watched one episode. And usually I'll watch a couple of episodes of a series to kind of get into it. And then if it captures me, I'll probably sit and binge watch it. Well, that's what happened with Final Space. First season was 10 episodes. It was amazing. Now, the creator, Olin Rogers, I get a feeling that he knows something about loss. Just a feeling I get. Now, while I didn't go to the point of talking about burning things down and such, and that, Gary Goodspeed loses his dad. He loses a lot of friends. There's a lot of loss in Final Space. I'll talk mainly about the first season because that's the only soundtrack that has been released. So yeah. Talks about family and friendship and how important that is to helping you get through day-to-day things. And then episode 6. The episode I will not forget because it broke me. They think that they have defeated, or at least stopped, the Lord Commander for the time being, but he sends up sticky bombs to stick to the back of Avocado's young son, Little Cato, who they have just gotten out. And Avocado says, something about tomorrow being even better. He gives a Little Cato a hug and notices that the sticky bombs are on the back and they're about to go off. So he grabs the sticky bombs and tells Gary, take care of my son. And then essentially sacrifices himself. I'd never heard of the artist Saul Seppi before. But I now know her music because of this. Now, to be fair, originally the composers had a different musical set in mind. They actually had a motif that had been going throughout the series, and we're going to use that when this particular incident happened. They didn't get that chance, but what's there is pretty good, I have to admit.
Welcome, inshallah, inshallah, into amazing grace is pouring down, fear not this light, we're on this light divine, so come, we move as one, amazing grace is pouring down, fear not this light, we're on this light divine, welcome into one.
So yeah. So I should mention that the series actually opens with Gary essentially the last 10 minutes of his life in space, where he's kind of reliving the moments that happened previously. And every 10 minutes or every minute, every episode is a minute. And those opening strains of music, someone told me, my friend Susan actually said to me, that's how she envisioned what space would sound like. Just have a listen. So yeah. Final Space. One of those series that I have watched now dozens of times. It's no longer on Netflix. It's no longer on any platform. You can probably find it on DVD somewhere, but it's hard to find and will probably be very expensive. The music is awesome. It introduced me to the artist Shelby, and I'll play here's just a couple of songs of hers that I discovered because of this show.
Spend a year out in the desert, spend a year out in the sea, spend my nights under the stars, just dreaming of sleep. Asked a question where I've been, I don't know where I will go. I just look up to the skies like there's a sign that I didn't see, I didn't know. Like there's a sound I didn't know. If only I could fix the sky to meet me. If only I could fix my heart to meet at dawn. It's got a way of knowing when to hurt me. Oh, it's when the night is long.
Yeah. So you get to the point where this show helped me deal with Dorothea's death. It put a bright spot in an otherwise absolutely devastating situation. And I don't wish it on anyone. Not even that supervisor who told me to get over it. My friend Larry McIntyre said to me, he said, "We never completely get over grief. We just learn to live with it." I mean, yeah. Because there are times when, whether it's a fleeting image, a song that I hear either on the radio or what I play, or a smell from the kitchen, it'll set me off, and I'll be in absolute tears, saying, I'm sorry. So yeah. Now, Olin Rogers, I doubt you'll ever see this video, but if you do, I want to say this. Thank you. Thank you for presenting characters that were relatable. Thank you for presenting a show that was both funny and poignant and helped me get through one of the worst times of my life. Thank you. To everyone else who will be remembering Dorothea on her, what would have been her 64th birthday, know that I know where you're coming from. Your sadness and everything. But know that there is hope. Whether it's in the form of Final Space or whether it's in the form of something else that you hang on to for dear life. And let everybody know that you're doing okay. And that's where I'm sitting here. I'm doing okay. I mean, I know there are days when I really feel it. But I've got friends. I've got my new girlfriend, Tamara Ravencroft, to thank for keeping me sane in all of this. I have friends, I have family. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Bonnie, for being there for me. Thank you, Debbie, for doing the same. My nephew and niece, CJ and Elizabeth, thank you. My great niece and great nephew, Thomas and Evangeline, you mean more to me than you'll ever know. But mainly, thank you, Dorothea, for spending 12 years of your life with this guy. Short time, I know, but it was a lifetime for me. Thank you so much. Well, I know this video is probably going to run pretty long, so what I'll do is I'll simply say this. Dorothea would say, love each other, care for each other, and don't let time go by without saying the things that are important. I'm also going to leave you with something that Dorothea said on one of her shows, one of her Coffee, Tea, and Mama D shows from years ago. So I'll leave you with that. I'll even go like, share, and subscribe. Get out there and listen to great scores, including the likes of Final Space. Have yourself a great day. Dorothea, I miss you. I love you. You get the final word today. Bye for now.
I'll miss you, friend.
Beyond the shadows of death. I believe that this stupendous power we call God has created a world beyond this world. A world of spirit for the spirit of man. He came and took me by the hand up to a red rose tree. He kept his meaning to himself, but gave a rose to me. I did not pray him to lay bare the mystery to me. Enough the rose was heaven to smell, and his own face to see. You know, I would say to you that in the last days, these last days, the thing that I have learned so much is this. I have learned to say I love you. I've learned to say I love you. And we all need to learn to say it. So, to those that are listening, whom I know personally, I love you. Ciao, Bella.